You are listening to Beyond the Shore, a conversation for leaders, dreamers, innovators, and world changers. All right, man. Episode 1. Beyond the Shore. I'm your host, Matt Leach, with my guy, Kels Johnson.
What's up?
This was your idea, man. This is all you. It was what you came to me about, I don't know, 2 months ago? Or not even, or somewhere
this
around
thing got
there.
here quick.
And it came up quick.
We blinked.
Yeah, we did a couple FaceTimes, a couple Zoom sessions, trying to discuss, all right, what do we want this to be about? And you were sharing with me the vision, and man, it's here. I was driving here and I was like, it's filming day. So cool. So,
Dude, I woke up this morning and was like, the thing is here. And I was like, I got so much to get ready. And I just felt this not pressure, but this excitement to like what we've been talking about is actually here. So tell the listeners, viewers, if they're here on YouTube, man, what is Beyond the Shore? What is the origination story, I guess, or idea behind it? So, man, Beyond the Shore is a podcast that kind of hit me coming out of one of the worst seasons of my wife and I's life. We had experienced our second miscarriage, and I just started thinking through some things and kind of looking at life differently. And I had this thought that anything that happens successfully happens beyond the shore, meaning the imagery is the difference between a person standing on the beach and another person sailing the seas. There's so much to life and so much vastness to this place that we live in that you can find beyond the shore. But too many times people just get stuck on the shores of what they think, what they feel, what they're afraid of. And I think that if we're ever going to do anything significant, we say the show is for leaders, dreamers, innovators, and world changers. Those are all people that have gotten comfortable with saying, I'm going beyond the shore. I'm going, I think it's, what is it, Frozen, into the unknown. Like you're going into the unknown.
Love a Frozen reference.
Right. Because that's where greatness lives.
That's awesome. That's really great, man. So even bigger picture than that, Beyond the Shore is officially, underneath a network that you're in the process of launching, man. The River Network. Tell us all about the River Network.
Man, so the River Network is our purpose child.
Okay.
It's the thing that my wife and I felt like we were called to do. I've been in content creation space for almost a decade now, way before it was like popular on social media to do so. I was, looking at cameras and creating YouTube videos and using my webcam on my MacBook. Like I was doing all the things. And like I said, last year, 2021, my wife and I embarked on a journey through IVF. Because we're on an infertility journey, and we experienced our second miscarriage. Our first one came, I want to say, like 3 years into our marriage, and then 2 years into our marriage, and then it took all that time for us to kind of say, all right, we'll go on this IVF journey. We had to go beyond the shore of what we thought conceiving children would look like for us.
You literally did this physically.
Physically did this because we went to Barbados.
Amazing journey.
We had to leave the States and go to Barbados. We didn't have to, but it's astronomically cheaper over there. But their success rate is like one of the highest in the world. And let's even unpack that, right?
Go for it, man.
You go to a place that has the success rate where it's one of the highest in the world, and yet you experience failure, what you can perceive as failure. And so how do you come to terms with that? How do you wrestle and grapple with that? And so we got back to the States. We had a successful, trip over there. It was really good. Everything went as it was supposed to. And then by late July is when we got the news that, our baby was no longer viable. my wife actually had to go through her miscarriage process at home.
Wow.
And I had to be there for that and walk with her through that, or I got to be there for her and walk with her through that.
Yeah.
And I got to see her strength. I got to see her resilience. I got to see her brokenness. I got to see her humanity. And in that process, after it was all over, my father-in-law asked me a question. He said, "Are you guys going to go back?" And I was like, man, I hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah.
And when he asked me that question, immediately my mind goes to everything that we had to go through just to get there the first time.
Right.
And it's like, do we want to do this all over again?
Yep.
Do we want to figure out this IVF thing all over again?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people who are asking that question of themselves. They've experienced a failure. They've experienced defeat. They've experienced things not going the way that they planned. And now they have to grapple with the question, am I going to go through this again? And that's kind of the whole idea beyond the shore.
Yeah.
Is it's easy to start. It's exciting to finish, but it's that in between space, that middle space that we have to grapple with these tough questions. And we have to decide, are we going to go forward or are we going to retreat and go home?
Yeah.
And so I started to just look at that and say, well, this is what I had to go through last time. This is what I had to do last time. This was the outcome last time. What if it happens again?
Yeah.
And then I took the question one step further. I started speaking in faith, but asking this question. Because we believe we're going to have kids. Like it's done. Like we're going to have kids. We're going to leave a legacy.
Yes,
like
sir.
My wife and I believe that that's what we're called to do. But I asked this question. I said, what's going to happen when my kids have to lose me?
Oh, wow.
That question just rang in my ears. What is going to happen when my wife and my kids have to lose me when I'm old and gray?
Yeah.
What am I leaving behind?
Right.
What will they have? What will be tangible for them to complete the mission that they have on their life? Did I do what I was supposed to do? There's a quote in Black Panther that shook me to my core. It's when the first time T'Challa went to the ancestral plane and he went to go see his father. And his father said this quote and it shook me. He says, "If I have not prepared you for my absence, I have failed as a father." And I said, goodness gracious.
Yeah. It's heavy and real.
And I think that's why our world looks the way that it does. It's because fathers have not prepared their children for their absence.
Yeah.
And we have children that are undeveloped, that have become undeveloped adults.
Wow.
And now we have insecurities and things in us that only a father could feel.
Wow.
And so I started to look at my life. I started to look at what I was designed and created to do. I started to just think through the gamut of everything I've done. Long story short, I come to this realization that I've been in the digital space a long time, and this is exactly where God wants me to be.
Yeah.
And so here we are with the River Network. The River Network is a Christian content streaming platform, a place for curated Christian content. And I believe that this is the next phase of our generation. You look at our grandmothers and our grandmothers, grandfathers, parents, they had Daystar, TBN, 700 Club. Like they had TV.
Yeah.
So that's why we know of a T.D. Jakes, a Joyce Myers, a Joel Osteen.
Exactly.
Like we know all these people because of these TV platforms.
Yep.
And then for our generation, we kind of only just had like the Hillsong channel, which was a lot more exclusive to the Hillsong world.
Yep.
And, you know, the broader audience just never locked in from a Christian perspective. And so I saw this big gap, this big, not divide, but just a space and opportunity. And it was like I felt the Lord say, there, right there. That's where I want you to go. And I was like, oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Create a space where Christian content creators can create, where pastors and leaders and thought leaders can share their thoughts from a centralized audience perspective.
That's key. Yeah.
What happens when we, the church, centralize our audience and not deplatform off these other places?
Sure.
But when we centralize our audience and say, this is where we draw from and we take that to the world.
So amazing, man. Because that's so true. I like the centralized part of it, because for listeners or viewers, I was just at a thing about, I guess, 2 weeks ago now, a huge gathering of a ton of Christians around the world, not just the country, called The Send.
Yep.
And it was in Kansas City. Awesome weekend, amazing time. But the day before it happened, it was like a 12-hour day on a Saturday in the Arrowhead Stadium. But the day before, there was this next gen.
You were
summit.
in Kansas?
Kansas City.
Did you get to see my homeboy?
Oh man, my homeboy, I did not see him. Wow, I took a second and I was like, wait, who's your home? And then, yeah, he had to, I guess.
Did you?
Jeez,
you didn't see my homeboy. All right.
Not.
Okay. Did you get some good barbecue?
Oh my gosh, yeah. We almost didn't. We was like a group of 12 of us, and man, on Friday evening, we just went to this. It was like this local. We looked it up, Joe's Smoke and Barbecue, or Joe's BBQ, and we pull up, and it's no joke, half gas station, half barbecue joint, and
them Jones be the best.
It was packed, bro. We waited in line for 20 minutes, but
Yep.
it was a simple place that just ridiculous,
and it was worth it.
Ridiculous food, man.
I had to preach there like 2 months ago. It was like 2 months ago, and they took me to this place called Slaps. Oh my God, Slaps barbecue is fire, and I'm from Texas.
Yeah,
so I know good barbecue.
Yeah,
Slaps hits.
So you're not playing. So it's Kels indoors. Texas indoors.
Texas endorsed. Texas approved.
Yo,
Slaps.
Man, it was ridiculous.
Okay, so you were at the Send in Kansas City.
And then the night before it happened, there was this, or the afternoon before it happened, there was this next gen summit, and they had panels going on all day. And one of the panels for like 45 minutes or so was these everybody in the Gen Z space, about the spaces you were just talking about, all online, all digital platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and everybody has their different reach. And they were talking about their highs, their lows, their successes, what they've seen God do, and all amazing stuff. But it is an interesting point where I think you and I have talked about it before. It's like when you were telling me your vision for the River Network, or people are fighting for, not, and it's not like they're doing it intentionally, but there's a battle for the space, right?
Yeah.
To get your viewers here, and the algorithms are weird, and if you do this and if you do that, you'll get more viewers, and it's awesome because you, especially in the Christian world or realm, you're trying to push out incredible content that is advancing the kingdom. And we're all for it. But how amazing would it be if there was this unified, this centralized space? So that's so cool to me.
That's what the church is.
Yeah.
Unified, centralized space. And it doesn't mean we all have to be in the same place.
Awesome.
To be centralized. We're centralized in thought. We're centralized in agenda to lift the name of Jesus.
Awesome,
it's
man.
it. And so I believe that God has laid this in the positive sense burden on me to do this, because I believe that the church is about to see her greatest years yet.
Come on,
we are not cast down. We are not thrown to the side.
Yes.
I believe that now it's time to mobilize and strategize and figure out, how do we continue to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to a lost and dying world. And I'm not depending, nor do I care about the Instagram algorithms or the TikTok algorithms or trying to find space on YouTube. I'm not saying that we need to deplatform. I'm saying that we need to centralize and become a strong, united voice. And when we do that, I believe that we're going to see something that we've never seen before.
Awesome, man. I love it. I love when you explain it, man. It's just, it fires you up, dude. It's the best.
It would take me probably 4 more episodes to talk
about River Network. So for all the listeners out there and the viewers, that's provides some more context about what Beyond the Shore is, and it's underneath the River Network, which is everything Kels just explained. So today's I guess our first episode, our topic, when Kels and I were talking back and forth, Kels brought up a great point with some stuff he actually just talked about, on this journey. If you are in that category, in those areas of a leader, a dreamer, an innovator, world changer, there's points along the way, or seasons along the way, where you find yourself just in the mundane or in the middle. And basically, this topic of this podcast this episode is welcome to the middle.
Welcome to the middle.
So many people, there's definitely a sect of people that are in, you can be hype about your beginning season or the end of another season, or you're transitioning into another. But from our day to day, man, we find ourselves just doing the same thing in the middle.
Yep.
And that can get boring, or that we can feel stuck, and you can feel worn out that you don't actually want to then continue to take steps beyond the shore.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
Well, so I like to word it. So we're focused on leaders, dreamers, innovators, world changers. But I like to word it like this.
Okay.
We're focused on leaders who dream, dreamers who innovate, and innovators who change the world.
That's good.
Because that has no bounds. Like that you can literally be a single mom.
Yeah.
And be those things, trying to lead your children and trying to dream up how you're going to make sure they've got a life beyond what they are right now. And you become innovative and you figure out different routines and different things to do so you can change the world. You can literally be a business owner or a husband or a pastor or a thought leader, a Fortune 500 CEO. Like, you could be all of these different other adjectives and still be a leader, dreamer, innovator, and world changer.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I said just a little while ago, it's fun to start.
Right.
It is exciting to finish, but we don't manage the middle well. And it is the middle that can kill you.
Wow.
This whole thought comes from the scripture or the story of Peter getting out of the boat to walk on the water with Jesus.
Yeah.
He sees Jesus walking on the water in the middle of a storm. Hear that. He sees Jesus walking on the water in the middle of the storm. That means before he saw Jesus, the storm was already there. And he says, Jesus, if it is you, bid me to come. Tell me to come to where you are. Jesus didn't ask Peter to come. Peter had the faith to go beyond the shore or the side of the boat.
Yep.
To get out, to walk on the water, to be where Jesus was.
Yeah.
And he does it. He's walking on the water. He's defying gravity. And any of the other guys on the boat could have done it if they just believed that they could.
Wow. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, nothing changes except Peter's perspective. The storm was already there. Jesus was already there, and he was already walking on the water. The only thing that changed was Peter's focus. He started to look at the storm.
Wow.
He started to focus on the winds and the waves, and he drowned.
Wow.
And Jesus had to save him.
Wow.
Because he didn't manage the middle well.
Wow. Man.
And if we don't do that well, we'll continue to see people drown.
Yeah.
Success is not standing at the top of the mountain.
Yeah. That's great.
Success is climbing the mountain.
Yep.
Standing at the top of the mountain is only the byproduct of climbing the mountain. There's a guy in a documentary that I just watched who climbed the highest point at Yosemite.
Okay.
El Capitan.
Solo. Yeah. Free solo.
El Capitan.
Yeah, Alex.
He climbed the joint with no
Crazy.
safety, harness, rope, nothing.
Crazy, man. That document. If it's on
The
Netflix,
documentary
crazy,
is
man.
wild.
Alex Honnold, amazing dude.
And
Gosh.
we only have his documentary not because he's standing on the mountain, but because of how he climbed the mountain.
Awesome. It's awesome, man.
You can fly a helicopter to the top of that mountain and be fine. This man scaled the thing with no safety.
Yeah, facts.
He took off all restrictions and said, I'm either going to make it or I'm going to die. That's the middle.
Yeah, and you're right. We don't focus on that enough. So why do you think that is?
Because the middle is scary.
Oh, yeah.
The middle is where you have to ask the tough questions. You have to answer them. The middle is where you come face to face with you.
Yeah. We don't want to do.
It's at the beginning, you're not you yet. You're just getting started. There's euphoria. There's adrenaline. There is you're hyped up on emotion.
We're dreaming a ton.
Yeah.
You're, I guess, dreamer phase.
Yeah.
You have all these things that you want to do.
Yeah. The leader and the innovator show up in the middle. You got to lead yourself. You got to be able to innovate out of this space in order to change the world. Success is on the other side of the middle. And that's what I want people to understand with Beyond the Shore podcast, as we're dealing with how to manage the middle well.
That's great.
And once we do that, man, the sky's the limit.
It's great. And that goes right into basically, I guess, the last 10, 15 minutes, what we can focus on here basically is we have, this idea, again, was yours, or this specific idea of having pillars of our podcast, of Beyond the Shore podcast, that we want to always refer back to, always be our center, always be our focus. And you sent it to me from, I think the idea was inspired from Born to Impact.
Yeah.
From Joel, I forget his last name, but
yeah. Great podcast.
Great podcast. Great idea about these focusing on these 5 pillars of the podcast and what they're always going to talk about. And so we have our own, and they relate basically perfectly what you just mentioned about the middle. The first is
So before I jump into that, I want to say that we're the reason we want to introduce you guys to these pillars. It's 5 of them, is because we're not trying to create a following. We're trying to create a family.
It's great.
This is our tribe. We got to do this together. If we're going to get through the middle, we have to do it together. And so the people that's going to subscribe to this will identify with these pillars.
I'm glad you stressed that. Thanks.
It will be the thing that's upholding them. You could come and get entertainment. Like, we're going to be fun. And, it's going to be,
talk about
it's going to be a blast. Yeah. Check out episode 2. It's going to be good. But it's going to be the pillars that will keep you here. And pillar number 1 is why is always more important than how.
Yeah.
Why is always more important than how, because your why should never change. Your how will always change.
Yeah.
It will go through seasons. It will go through phases. It will evolve. You will adapt. It will grow. It will shrink. It will be exciting. It will be depressing. How will change. But if you're anchored by your why,
it's great.
You won't walk away.
Which, again, speaks to the middle.
Yeah.
Those situations or scenarios that you just mentioned, the single mom raising her children to be raising the next generation in a godly way.
Yeah.
That why is not going to change.
Yeah.
The how, of course, that is going to change.
It's going to change. And it's like lifting weights. And it's like, why am I doing this?
Yep.
And if you can answer that question, you'll keep going.
Yeah.
That's with life.
Yeah.
When you're in the middle, you're going to come face to face with the question, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And once you answer why, you can then figure out how. Pillar number 2, you got to do the scary thing.
Yep.
You can't run away from the scary thing. You have to. I heard it said, sometimes you have to do it afraid. Just because you're afraid doesn't mean you need to retreat. Sometimes you need to lean into that fear. You need to lean into what you're afraid of, because there you might find some interesting ideas.
Wow.
You might find some things that were hidden that you can't find happy.
Yep.
Happy gets you rose-colored glasses.
Yep. And if it's amazing, it's, again, so interesting. Like, if no one ever would act on or do the scary things, we'd never get through the middle.
We'd never get through it.
See the mountaintop that you said gets preached about or gets publicized, or blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
We would never see that.
We'd never see it
if we didn't do scary things, have hard conversations, go through difficult things. Oh man, I think you were telling me earlier, not on this podcast, some other conversation we had just about, and you even touched on it here too, about fathers.
Yeah.
If fathers or husbands wouldn't have the hard conversations, whatever that is, man, I loved how you were explaining to me earlier. But if they wouldn't do those scary things, go ahead. I'll let you.
The reason that we are the way that we are, and I think I might have said it at the beginning of this, is because we don't have fathers doing the scary thing of actually giving their children identity. Yeah. We have so many youth that are walking around with father wounds that they can't do the scary
or
thing.
Fatherlessness. Yeah.
Majority of atheists have what is called a father fracture. So they can't believe in God because of how their father treated them.
Wow.
How can God be so good when my own dad was a wreck?
Wow. Man.
Fathers have to do the scary thing of having the hard conversations, of saying, no, you're not going to conform just because culture tells you to. Yeah. No, you're not going to do whatever you want to do just because you feel like doing it, because your feelings are fleeting.
Yeah.
You will change day to day, moment to moment. And if you build your life off of your feelings, you're building it off of something that is faulty.
Man.
Yep. Fathers have to have the hard conversations. You have to do the scary thing.
So important, man. I feel like I could go so many different ways, but we'll just pause there or wrap it up there.
Because you're keeping me in a time. You're doing this scary thing and keeping me in a time constraint.
Keeping this man in check.
30. Okay, all right.
Go ahead, go for it.
Before we jump off of this, I have a scary thing that I need to announce that I've got to do. This is my camera right here.
I don't know what he's saying.
Okay, so this is the Beyond the Shore podcast. Welcome to the first episode. And I've got a scary challenge that I want to announce to you right now. When this podcast, when this podcast or this channel, this YouTube channel hits 100,000 subscribers, and then on our podcast downloads, 100,000 podcast downloads, and the combination of Apple and Spotify, I'm going to do the scary thing for me. And that is skydive.
Wow. I despise heights. Do I have to do this now that I'm on the pod? So
I think you have to do it.
All right, I'm noting it. 100,000.
This is happening. You guys, here's another camera. You watching.
Oh, boy.
When we hit 100,000 subscribers and 100,000 podcast downloads, we will skydive. That's the scary thing. I don't want to do it.
This is terrifying for me.
It's terrifying.
For all the audience, this is terrifying. But here we are. We're owning it.
We're owning it. We got to
it.
do the scary thing.
Got to do it.
Even if we're afraid. We got to do it.
All right.
And I believe that it's going to happen.
That's right.
And you know why? You know why I want to do that? Because that means we would have already done scary things. Like building out this show.
Yeah.
Making it something that people want to watch, making sure that we're up to date on content and we're producing quality. And we've invested in cameras and lights and microphones, and everything that we're going to do is to ensure that we've built a tribe strong enough to start shaking things up.
Yep.
And so,
And if you do want to be, everything that Kels has talked about, how this is a family, if this is something that you feel that you want to be a part of or you're attached to, you find yourself a leader, dreamer, innovator, world changer, which, let's be real, we all are or are called to be. And subscribe on YouTube.
Yes.
Give us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. Leave us comments too. Engage with us in the comments on YouTube. Leave us a review, an honest review on Spotify or Apple, and we will. Trust me, we will read the feedback. We will appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
What you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying. Guys, please engage with us. This is great. Share it with friends and family, whoever you think this would be great. This is right up their avenue. These pillars are for this person. Feel free to share it, guys. So thanks for joining us on the first episode of Beyond the Shore. We will catch you in episode 2.
100,000 skydive.
Oh, boy.
Jesus.